I hid my identity as the only son of the world's richest man and had a pure love with a wealthy heiress. Just as I was about to reveal my identity to her, I overheard her group of close friends speaking a foreign language right in front of me. You're about to go home for an arranged marriage. So what about this little boyfriend you're dating? Have you broken up yet? Yuan Shuang gently swirled the wine glass in her hand. We're not breaking up. I really like him, but his family is too poor. He's not presentable. The arranged marriage is just to appease my family. He is my true love. When the time comes, it'll just hide him. It'll be fine to keep him on the side. They spoke so openly without any restraint, only because they thought my family was poor and that I didn't understand the foreign language. I didn't tell them that I actually understood it, so it turns out, while she was making vows of eternal love to me, she had already accepted her family's arranged marriage. I made an excuse to go to the restroom. Once outside, I immediately called home. Mom, Dad, I've thought it through. I agree to come home and inherit the family fortune. Hearing that their son finally agreed, my parents on the other end of the line were overjoyed. Remembering the girlfriend I was dating while hiding my identity, they couldn't help but ask, "Is that girlfriend of yours coming back with you?" She won't be. I am planning to break up with her. My voice unconsciously dropped a little. He'll have everything here sorted out in a week. After a few more words, I hung up. I put my phone away and returned to the private room. The noise in the room suddenly stopped for a moment when I pushed the door open, but I acted as if I hadn't noticed anything. I walked straight to Yuan Shuang's side and sat down. She turned her attention away from the conversation and looked at me sitting quietly beside her. Xing He, what call took you so long? Before I could even open my mouth, I was cut off by another voice. There isn't a single foreigner here, but that person spoke in a foreign language. Sister Wan Shuang, when are you and Zhang Wubai planning to get married? Hearing this, my hand holding the glass tightened slightly, but Yuan Shuang maintained that indifferent expression. After glancing at me, she answered the question in the foreign language. The date set by the family is in half a month. Hearing this, everyone present turned to look at me in unison. One of the close friends asked with a hint of curiosity, "If you marry Zhang Wubai, what will happen to Gu Xing He? Have you broken up yet?" Yuan Shuang shook her head. She took a sip of wine before continuing. "The marriage is just to appease my family. The only one I like is Gu Xing He." As soon as she said this, a wave of laughter erupted in the room. Everyone's teasing remarks rang out incessantly. "Sister Wan Shuang, why are you still playing this pure love game? With such a huge difference in status, are you really serious about him?" She turned her head to look at me. The tenderness and love in her eyes were so thick, they could almost melt. Without saying a word, she answered the question perfectly. Someone looked at her love-struck appearance and clicked their tongue in admiration. Looks like it's real love. But then again, does he really not understand the foreign language? That person had just been asking casually. Who knew that when the others heard her question, they all burst out laughing. Gu Xing, he is poor. How could he have the money to learn a second language? Don't worry, he definitely doesn't understand. Everyone's mocking laughter echoed in my ears. No one noticed that my breathing beside them had become a little ragged. My hand clutching the wine glass had long turned my knuckles white. I didn't tell them that I actually understood the foreign language. After all, I wasn't some poor kid with no money. I was the only son of the world's richest family. We'd been together for 5 years, and Yuan Shuang treated me very well. The only thing was, she never introduced me to her family. At first, I thought she was just worried about our difference in status. After all, the Yi family was a famous, prestigious family in Haicheng, so I had already made plans to reveal my identity to her. I am the only son of the richest man. I just didn't want to live forever under my parents' protective wings, so I decided to hide my identity and go out to gain experience. But the timing was such a coincidence. 3 days ago, I saw in her study a red wedding invitation. The groom was the young master of the Jiang family, and the bride was Yuan Shuang. It turned out that while she and I were passionately in love, she had already accepted her family's arranged marriage. It turned out she was coaxing me, calling me her husband, while also busy marrying someone of equal social standing, and who was recognized by her family as her husband. At that moment, I suddenly felt there was nothing more to say. From now on, she'll get married, and I'll go inherit my family's business. We both have bright futures ahead of us. After 3 rounds of drinks, everyone had a good time talking. The sky was getting dark, so the party broke up and prepared to leave. I walked out of the private room behind everyone else. After taking just a few steps, I heard an unfamiliar voice call out from behind, "Young Master Gu." I stopped and turned around. Only then did I realize the person calling me was a former business partner who was always begging my father for a collaboration. I couldn't help but sigh internally. I didn't want to expose my identity. I was thinking of a way to smooth things over. One of the girlfriends, walking behind Yuan Shuang, looked me up and down, then let out a scornful laugh. "What, young master? Gu Xing He, the clothes he's wearing? Do they even add up to more than 300 yuan? How could he possibly be a young master? What a huge joke." These words immediately triggered a round of mocking laughter. They weren't speaking a foreign language. I heard their mockery clearly, but my face showed no expression. On the contrary, Yuan Shuang got angry. She shot that person a cold, warning look. That person, feeling a bit deflated, restrained themselves, and no longer laughed so carelessly. The others, After receiving the warning look, also gradually quieted down, their voices lowering. That person didn't follow. I walked behind Yi Wan Shuang. Neither of us said anything on the way home. When we got home, she changed her shoes and then suddenly spoke. I won't take you to gatherings like that anymore. My expression remained calm. Even though I was being indirectly kicked out of her circle of friends, there was no change at all. I just opened my mouth and asked one question. Is it because you think I am embarrassing you? She laughed, about to give me a hug, but I dodged it. She had no choice but to explain. What are you thinking? I just don't want you to feel wronged. But our statuses are different. Sooner or later, we'll have to face this situation. Isn't your family pushing you into an arranged marriage? I looked at her, trying to find a hint of guilt in her expression. But even after hearing the word alliance, Yi Wan Shuang's expression only stiffened for a moment. It quickly returned to normal. Xing he, you just need to know that the person I love is you. That's enough. As for other matters, I will find a way to solve them. If I hadn't looked closely, I really wouldn't have noticed anything unusual about her. After speaking, Yi Wan Shuang went into the bathroom to wash her face. Watching her back as she left, I said nothing. But I couldn't help but think, your so-called solution, is it to follow your family's advice, marry one person, and keep another on the side? Not far away. A message notification sounded from the bedside table. It was Yi Wan Shuang's phone. She had never hidden her password from me. I easily unlocked her phone and went to the messages to take a look. It was from Jiang Wubei. Wan Shuang, we have to meet both sets of parents tomorrow. If you don't stay here tonight, will the elders find out we're faking our marriage? I know the one you love is your boyfriend. But, at least for these few days, can you give me some face? Although his words seemed humble, I could see through his intentions. At first, he used the excuse of their parents to beg her to live with him. And what about later? He would just keep using this excuse, step by step, becoming more and more demanding. But this no longer had anything to do with me. I had already decided to leave. Thinking this, I marked the message as unread and put the phone back where it was. Not long after, Yi Wan Shuang came out after washing her face. She casually picked up her phone to take a look. The next second, she looked at me apologetically. Xing he, something urgent came up at the company and I need to go over. I won't be back tonight. You should get some good rest at home. She left in a hurry, not waiting to see my reaction, nor did she notice that I always used to see her to the door and complain to her, hoping she could spend more time with me. But this time, I didn't try to hold her back at all, watching her figure retreat further and further away. Ding. Not long after Yi Wan Shuang left, my phone also received a message. If I just say the word, Wan Shuang will still come to me. We're meeting the parents tomorrow. Once we're actually married, what the hell will you be? A lover who can't be seen in the light? Jiang Wubei's words were harsh. But what upset me more was that, this knife that someone else was using to hurt me, he was personally handed to them by the girlfriend I once thought I could be with for a lifetime. Yi Wan Shuang probably didn't know that even if I hadn't found that invitation, the fact that she was marrying someone else couldn't have been hidden from me for long, because the day after I found the invitation, Jiang Wu Bai had already added me as a friend. And for the past few days, he had been constantly sending me all sorts of provocative photos. There were photos of Yi Wan Shuang trying on wedding dresses with Jiang Wu Bai. There were photos of them choosing diamond rings together. There were photos of them looking at wedding venues together. One photo after another, they had completely destroyed all the love I had for Yi Wan Shuang. That night, Yi Wan Shuang didn't come home. I didn't pay any mind to it. After waking up the next day, I went straight to the company to resign. I completed the resignation procedures on the same day. During the lunch break, my colleagues and I had a meal downstairs. After hearing that I had completed my resignation, a colleague I was closer with couldn't help but joke. Lately, I've been seeing videos about colleagues who suddenly quit their jobs to go home and inherit the family business. Xing he, you're quitting so decisively. You're not also going home to inherit the family business, are you? My colleague was just joking, but I nodded lightly. That's right. I am about to go back and inherit the family business. Everyone was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. They just took it as a joke and paid it no mind. I smiled and didn't explain further. After lunch, I packed my belongings into a box and carried the box home. When I got back, Yi Wan Shuang happened to be home. Seeing me return with a box, she felt a little strange. You quit your job? I nodded. I carried the box towards the bedroom, but her brows furrowed tightly. She called out to stop me. Didn't you really like this job? Why did you suddenly quit? I stopped in my tracks. When I looked at her, a smile appeared on my face. Because I have a job, I want to do more now. Hearing me say this, Yi Wan Shuang didn't ask any more questions. She just said, if work is too tiring, just come back. Seeing you so tired every day breaks my heart. Xing he, you should know that I can support you. I shook my head and said word by word, I am no one's dependent. Yi Wan Shuang was stunned. What do you mean, dependent? I didn't want to hear any more. I opened my mouth to cut her off. Why are you home so early today? Aren't you going to the company? The work has been so busy lately I haven't had time to be with you. Today, I thought I'd spend time with you. After speaking, her brows relaxed. She once again became my obedient girlfriend. What do you want to do? Eat Western food or watch a movie? Whatever you want to do today, I'll do it with you. If the old me had heard these words, I would probably be incredibly moved right now. After all, I knew she was the heir to the Yi group. The amount of work she had to handle every day was truly immense. So, her willingness to spend time doing things I wanted to do could at least prove that I held a very large place in her heart. But now, as I looked at her, I couldn't help but think, is it really that work is too busy? Or is it that preparing for the wedding is too busy? How on earth did she manage to prepare for a wedding with another man, while also coaxing me, telling me that I was the only one she loved? But in the end, I still didn't expose her lies. After all, there were only a few days left. When the time comes, I will naturally disappear from her life without a trace. I shook my head, rejecting her suggestion. After thinking for a moment, I finally said, help me clean the house. There are a lot of old things in the villa. There's no point in keeping them. Yi Wanshuang agreed. She spent a long time cleaning with me, but as we got to the end of the cleaning, she realized that the things I was clearing out were all the matching items we had bought before. From water cups to jewelry, from clothes to slippers, I threw them all into the trash without a second thought. The smile on her face, as the number of matching items I threw away increased, also gradually stiffened, until the very last item was thrown into the trash. The panic in her heart could no longer be concealed. Xing He, have you found out something? What could I possibly know? Are you hiding something from me? I raised an eyebrow, looking at Yi Wanshuang, avoiding her question and asking one of my own. She turned away, not daring to look me in the eye. After a moment of silence, she still didn't answer directly. She just gripped my hand tightly and said, Xing He, no matter what happens, you just need to remember that the one I love is you. I smirked, saying nothing more. After we finished cleaning, Yi Wanshuang was still insistent on taking me on a date. I was afraid she would notice something was off, so I didn't refuse. She took me to dinner, to a movie. The car finally stopped at an auction house. Just as we were about to enter, we saw a man in an exquisite suit walking towards us. A hint of unnaturalness flickered across her face. I noticed it immediately. What's wrong? Did you see someone you know? As soon as I finished speaking, the man stopped in front of us and greeted us with a smile. Yi Wanshuang's introduction came right on time. He's the son of a close family friend, Jiang Wubai. After saying that, she paused for a moment before introducing me. This is my boyfriend, Xing He. Hearing her completely different introductions for the two of us, the smile on Jiang Wubei's face immediately froze. After a moment, he still managed to force a smile and extend his hand towards me. I've long heard that Wanshuang's boyfriend is very handsome. Meeting you today, you certainly live up to your reputation. As they were speaking, the group of girlfriends who spoke a foreign language in front of me the other day and mocked me also approached. Out of my line of sight, they winked at Yi Wanshuang. Only then did I realize this encounter was not a coincidence. They had intentionally brought Jiang Wubai here. A fire of anger ignited within me. But in this situation, if I suddenly lost my temper, it would be even harder to explain. Under the circumstances, I could only suppress all my anger. At the auction, Jiang Wubei's seat was right next to Yi Wanshuang. Unlike his provocative texts, in person, he was knowledgeable and well-spoken. Knowing that Yi Wanshuang was interested in porcelain, he centered the conversation with her around this topic. Yi Wanshuang, too, went from her initial resistance to gradually leaning towards him, until I let out a cough. Only then did Yi Wanshuang remember that she had been ignoring me. She quickly said in a gentle voice, Are you bored? Xing He, I know you're not interested in these things. If there's something you like, you can just bid on it directly. I hadn't said anything yet, but the whispers from the group of girlfriends behind us started up again. Although they tried to lower their voices, since they were only one row away, I could still hear them crystal clear. Sister Wanshuang really knows how to save face for him. So what if he's interested? He doesn't know anything. I am afraid he doesn't even know how to raise the paddle. That's right. An upper-class auction. This must be his first time. Several of them said, glancing in my direction with disdain. They called it whispering, but I felt they were intentionally saying it for me to hear. I didn't argue. After all, the next time we meet, they will have to stand before me respectfully and address me as young Master Gu. At this point, the previous item had been sold, and the next item was brought out. It was a jade sculpture called Pine and Crane Longevity. The quality was superb. Most importantly, the auctioneer's introduction claimed it was a work by Zhun Sheng, the grandmaster of jade carving. As soon as he heard this introduction, Jiang Wubei immediately got excited. He raised the bidding paddle in his hand. Wanshuang, this piece is highly collectible. Grandma, yes. Birthday is the day after tomorrow. This would be the perfect birthday gift for her. When I heard the name Zhun Sheng, I subconsciously looked up at the item on stage. Just a single glance, and I averted my gaze. My calm voice, without a ripple of emotion, was like a bucket of cold water poured over Jiang Wubei's head. This one is a fake. Jiang Wubai looked at me in disbelief. He was about to ask what a country bumpkin like me would know, but seeing Yi Wanshuang sitting next to him, he suppressed his anger and said with a laugh, How did Mr. Gu figure that out? Because the real one was already given to his grandmother by young Master Gu, the son of the richest man. There's only one in the world. The real one is at his house, so the one on stage is definitely a fake. I was just giving a kind reminder, but as soon as I said it, Jiang Wubai suddenly burst out laughing. Even Yuan Shuang's group of friends behind us started laughing mockingly without restraint. If you don't know, don't pretend you do. How embarrassing. That's right. Given away by the son of the richest man? What? Were you hiding under the bed and saw it with your own eyes? Just because your last name is also Go, don't think. You can claim to be related to the great young Master Gu. The crowd's mocking laughter grew louder. In the end, it was Yuan Shuang who, with a cold face, stopped their ridicule. She looked at me, took my hand. Xing he, I know you've been reading some books on appraisal recently, but appraisal skills can't be improved just from books. Wu Bei has been in and out of auction houses since he was a child, and knows a lot about jade carving. Naturally, he knows a little more than you. She didn't say anything too harsh, but in and out of her words, she clearly thought I was talking nonsense. I let out a soft laugh and said nothing. In the end, Jiang Wubai spent a full 100 million to win that jade statue at a high price. Watching the moment she went to swipe her card, I smiled. I wonder how the old lady of the Yi family would feel after learning she spent 100 million to buy a fake jade statue for her. What would she think? I didn't stop her, nor did I pay it any mind. I stood up and went to the restroom. Just as I finished washing my hands, a familiar voice came from behind me. Gu Xing. I thought I had made myself clear enough, but I didn't expect you to be so shameless as to not leave. Do you really want to be the third wheel? His voice was harsh and unpleasant, completely different from the mature, elegant rich young master from just a moment ago. I indifferently raised my eyes and turned to look at him. Mr. Jiang, I hope you understand this clearly. I was the one by her side for 5 years, the third wheel. That title doesn't belong to me, does it? After saying that, I intended to walk right past him and leave, but he wouldn't let it go, and continued to taunt me with a cold laugh. Right, together for 5 years, and she still wouldn't marry you. Have you ever wondered why? I am the heir of the Jiang family. She is the heiress of the Yi group. She and I are a perfect match in social status. And you, at home, you have a father and a sickly mother, with such a tattered family background, having nothing of what you want. How are you worthy of her? My footsteps faltered. This family background was just something I made up, but I really didn't expect that Yuan Shuang would tell this to Jiang Wubai. I couldn't help but laugh self-deprecatingly. If I really had such a background, then would it be that the boyfriend she called, the one she said she could only love, had given another man a second knife to hurt me? Truly unworthy. My heart ached, and I turned back to look at Jiang Wubai. The pent-up frustration in my heart suddenly dissipated. You two are the ones made for each other. I wish you two the best. Having said that, I started to walk away again. I hadn't been outside for long when my phone rang. It was my mother's call. Xing he, come home soon. Everyone in the family is waiting for you, and we've prepared a pile of gifts for you. Mom bought you an ancient castle abroad. Your aunt bought you a diamond watch. I heard the King of England once wore it. Your uncle, too, prepared a fleet of supercars for you. Listening to Mother Gu ramble on about the family, and how many gifts they'd prepared for my return, my face was full of resignation. I am coming home to inherit the family fortune, not to go bankrupt. Just as I finished speaking, a familiar voice came from behind. What family fortune inheritance? I froze and instinctively hung up the phone, but I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Why are all these people like this? They love to stand behind people and suddenly speak up. I turned my head and saw Yuan Shuang with a not-so-good expression on her face. After a moment of contemplation, I finally offered an explanation. It's nothing. An old colleague just asked me what I planned to do after quitting, so I joked with him, saying I was going home to inherit the family fortune. Yuan Shuang frowned. He's clearly not the type to joke like that. She instinctively felt something was off. Just as she was about to open her mouth, I had already taken a few steps and turned my head to call her. Are you not going? There are still some precious jewels yet to be displayed. Hearing these words, Yuan Shuang thought I wanted to buy some jewelry and nodded, following me. After returning to the auction room, Yuan Shuang won the bids on several of the next precious jewelry pieces at high prices. After having them wrapped up, she handed them to me. I looked at the box in my hand and said softly, I don't use these things. Yuan Shuang smiled and hugged me. Get used to it from now on. You don't need to be afraid of wasting money. I'll buy them for you for a lifetime. My lips twitched, but in the end, I didn't say the rest of my words. I don't wear these things worth tens of millions. My jewelry collection, every piece is over 100 million. The auction was over. Everyone in the hall began to leave one by one. Yuan Shuang. And our group didn't stay long either. Everyone had driven their own cars, so we just had to go our separate ways. But just as I got in the car, before it had even started, Jiang Wubai knocked on the passenger side window. The car window slowly rolled down. He looked nothing like the malicious person who was so harsh to me in the restroom earlier. Yuan Shuang, my car broke down. Can you give me a ride home? Yuan Shuang frowned. Just as she was about to refuse, he spoke again. Uncle and Auntie told you to take care of me. You haven't forgotten, have you? Yuan Shuang's expression darkened, for some reason, but she eventually agreed. Seeing her nod directly, the smile on his face grew wider, and then he pushed his luck, looking at me. But I get carsick. What should I do if I can't sit in the back? Yuan Shuang looked at me. Before she could even speak, I had already opened the car door and gotten out, moving straight to the back seat. My movements were swift and decisive. Yuan Shuang didn't even have time to react. Before I was already settled in the back seat, her words were instantly caught in her throat, stuck, making it very awkward. She hesitated, wanting to speak, wanting to say it was just a seat, and that I didn't need to mind so much. But when she glanced at the back seat through the rearview mirror, I had already closed my eyes, pretending to rest. Just then, Jiang Wu Bai also got into the car. The car door closed, and seeing me resting with my eyes closed in the back, the corner of his mouth curled into a smug smile. Gug, saying he. So, what if the person she likes right now is still you? In the end, what I want, won't it still fall into my hands? Winning her heart is just a matter of time. Thinking this, Jiang Wu Bai's mood suddenly improved. When he looked at Yuan Shuang, his eyes were full of gentleness. Is Mr. Gu tired? Then just let him rest for a bit. Perhaps noticing my unusual behavior, Yuan Shuang didn't talk much with Jiang Wu Bai either. She just nodded and started the car in silence. I don't know when I actually fell asleep. When I woke up again, the car had stopped at the Yi family villa. Jiang Wu Bai was long gone from the car. Yuan Shuang touched my face. You're awake. I saw you were sleeping so soundly. I couldn't bear to wake you. My consciousness was still a bit hazy. I nodded and opened the car door to get out. Without waiting for Yuan Shuang, I walked straight towards the main gate. When Yuan Shuang got out of the car, I had already reached the door. She chased after me for a few steps and blocked me at the door. Are you angry? Jiang Wu Bai is really just the son of a longtime family friend. Don't mind him. I just grunted. Yuan Shuang thought I was still angry. She reached out to pull me back and reluctantly tried to coax me. He's really just the son of a longtime family friend. Darling, I only love you. You know that. After saying that, she moved forward to kiss me, but I pushed her away. Seeing the surprised look on her face, I went straight through the door. I am not feeling well. I am going to my room to rest first. After saying that, I locked the door tight, completely cutting off Yuan Shuang's chance to enter the room. The next morning, in the first-floor dining room, I was having breakfast with Yuan Shuang when the phone I had placed beside me suddenly rang. It was a timer alarm I had set before. The note was Meet the Parents' Day. Yuan Shuang also saw those words. I had previously planned to tell her my true identity, so I suggested she come home to meet my parents, and she had agreed. The two of us looked at each other. I was thinking of a way to cancel this meeting when the next second, her phone also rang. It was a call from Jiang Wu Bai. I don't know what the person on the other end said, but her expression changed slightly when she walked back towards me. She declined the meeting with an apologetic look. Xing he. Something suddenly came up this time. Can I go meet uncle and auntie with you next time? She probably thought I would make a scene, that I would get angry. But as it turned out, I just nodded calmly. It just so happens that I also have something to do today. Not long after Yuan Shuang left, I also went out to walk around the shopping mall to prepare gifts for the friends I was about to meet, one for each person. When I got to the meeting place, everyone opened their gifts. When they saw that in each box was a brand new designer item, they immediately exclaimed in shock. Teng He, where did you get all this stuff? It looks so real. They're all real. Seeing how they loved them and couldn't bear to let go, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. After explaining, I saw they all looked unconvinced, so I revealed my true identity. Actually, what I told you guys about my family background before, my parents being seriously ill, it was all fake. My real identity is the only son of the richest man. This time, saying goodbye to you all is because I have to go home to inherit the family fortune. Hearing me say that, the whole group was first stunned, then shocked, and finally, overjoyed, constantly shouting that a young master was right beside them. Their shouts almost tore the roof off the restaurant. After the cheering, someone remembered Yuan Shuang and quickly asked, but if you go back, what will happen to Yuan Shuang? Does she know your real identity yet? Mentioning Yuan Shuang, the smile on my face faded a little. She's planning to marry someone else. How is that possible? Hearing this sentence, my friends couldn't believe it. In our eyes, she's a rare, deeply devoted person among the rich. That's right. That's right. 3 years ago you said you liked Night Blooming Cereus, so she spent a large sum of money to buy all the Night Blooming Cereus in the world just to get a smile from you. 2 years ago, you had the flu. She turned down $100 million contract to come back from abroad to take care of you herself, not daring to close her eyes all night. And a year ago, the car you two were in had an accident. The out-of-control truck was originally heading for you. To protect you, she tried hard to swerve. In the end, you were unharmed, but she broke 3 ribs and was in a hospital bed for 3 months, almost not waking up. Now she's getting married. How could the groom not be you? Hearing my friends recount these past events, I still felt very emotional inside. Yuan Shuang back then was truly in love. Loved me, to the point of not even caring for her own life. But now, I shook my head and chuckled softly. She loves me, but her family thinks my status isn't worthy of her. I didn't even have a chance to tell the truth. Before she had already printed the wedding invitations, from what she implied, she probably wants me to be her lover after she gets married. My brothers exploded when they heard this. What? A lover? Making the only son of the richest man a lover? The Yu family must be crazy. Fine. fine. There will come a time when she'll regret it, but if she finds out you're leaving secretly, and her family finds out your true identity, they'll surely go mad. Just then, Yuan Shuang and Jiang Wubai walked in from outside. Hearing their words, she frowned. What true identity? Seeing them walk in together, an indignant friend. He was about to speak, but I stopped him. I looked at the two who had just entered, my expression cold. Why are you two here? Hearing my question, Yuan Shuang couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Her eyes evasive. Our two families just happened to have a collaboration, so we arranged to meet and discuss it. Hearing her answer, I laughed again. Of course, I knew about their collaboration, a marriage collaboration, because they had to discuss their collaboration. Yuan Shuang and Jiang Wubai didn't sit with them, but sat at a separate table nearby, not far, just close enough for me to see the intimate actions between them. For example, he helped her cut her steak. He shared his favorite food with her. He helped her get a napkin. He helped her wipe the dirty corner of her mouth. The two of them, back and forth, made my friends furious, but I remained calm. After finishing the meal, my sides gathering also ended. Yuan Shuang then offered to take me and Jiang Wubai home, perhaps having learned from the previous fight over the passenger seat. This time, Yuan Shuang had learned her lesson. She decisively drove her family's stretched Rolls-Royce, with a driver at the wheel. Naturally, she wouldn't be going to the passenger seat anymore. The car drove smoothly towards the Jiang family's home. The roads were clear. No one expected an accident to happen at this moment. An out-of-control truck came rushing from another direction. The driver instinctively wrenched the steering wheel, only to hear a loud crash. The two cars still inevitably collided, as the car window shattered. As I fell to the other side due to inertia, I happened to see Yuan Shuang shielding Jiang Wubai beside her. Not only did she prevent him from getting hurt at all, but she also soothed his emotions. My consciousness began to fade. I suddenly remembered the accident my friends had just mentioned. It was the 4th year we were together. My feelings for her were still at their most passionate. It was also an intersection like this. Also a truck rushing at high speed. My direction was exactly where the truck was crashing into, in the midst of terror. I realized I couldn't avoid that truck. I could only force myself to turn so my side would take the impact. The front of the car caved in. She was trapped in the driver's seat. Firefighters and doctors worked together for a long time to rescue her, finally getting her out of the car. She almost died that day, but even so, when she woke up after being out of danger, the first thing she said was to ask about my safety. Now, it's a car accident again. The difference is the person she instinctively shielded is no longer me. The rear of the stretched Rolls-Royce was smashed beyond recognition, until everyone had gotten out of the car. Yuan Shuang was still soothing Jiang Wubei's emotions. She finally saw me silently holding my bleeding forehead. Luckily, my injury wasn't serious. After getting it bandaged at the hospital, there were no more problems. But because of the head injury, the doctor still recommended staying in the hospital for 2 days of observation. Yuan Shuang looked at the gauze on my head, her face full of guilt. Xing I am sorry. At that time, I just thought that in a while, I have a collaboration with Jiang Wubai that we need to attend together. His face couldn't get injured, so I protected him. You can hit me or scold me. Take it. Just please don't ignore me, okay? Her attitude of admitting her mistake was incredibly sincere. The reason also seemed plausible. If I hadn't remembered their wedding, which was less than half a month away, was going to happen. I lowered my eyes and said nothing, not saying I didn't forgive, but not saying I forgave either. From beginning to end, my expression was completely calm. Yuan Shuang's apology didn't stop. She kept saying sorry, then suddenly seemed to remember something. A glimmer of hope flashed in her eyes. Your birthday is in a few days. Can I give you your gift early? What birthday present do you want? I'll buy it for you. Hearing that, I finally looked up at her, but my eyes were devoid of any emotion. Then buy me a plane ticket to Shangcheng in 3 days. What for? To go to Shangcheng? She was a little surprised, but very quickly, she came up with an answer herself. Do you want to go on a trip? I didn't explain. Just nodded. Yuan Shuang didn't ask any more questions, and right in front of me, she opened her phone and bought a plane ticket to Shangcheng. After buying the ticket, she said she's been busy lately and doesn't have time to go with me. You can go to Shangcheng and have fun first, when I have time. I'll go with you on a trip. A plane ticket is too small for a birthday gift. I'll make it up to you with a big surprise then. I shook my head and chuckled softly. It's not small at all. After all, this plane ticket is my way home. Yuan Shuang, thank you for your gift, for personally sending me home. 2 days in the hospital. Yuan Shuang seemed to have returned to how she was when we first fell in love. You could say she took the utmost care of me, but the good times didn't last. Her care ended on the day I was discharged. She said beforehand that she had work, so she had a driver take me home. Right after that, I received a taunting message from Jiang Wubei. Sorry, Yuan Shuang and I are getting married soon. Today she has to go to my family home for dinner with me. I am afraid she won't have time to pick you up from the hospital. I paid no mind to this message, just went home in silence, and started packing my luggage. On the day of departure, I woke up very early, 7 hours before takeoff. I carried my suitcases out one by one. Just as I ran into Yuan Shuang returning, Seeing the suitcases piled up at the villa's door, her face turned pale with panic. A sense of unease suddenly rose in her heart. What's all this? Didn't you say you were going to Xicheng for fun? It's still the ticket I bought for you. Have you forgotten? My expression was nonchalant, as if I were really just preparing to go on a trip, but my words couldn't convince her. Aren't you just going for a day or two? Do you need to bring so much luggage? I smirked, bringing a few extra sets of clothes. I want to take a few more pictures, but I never liked taking pictures like this before. When we traveled together, I never brought so many things. That feeling of unease spread from her heart throughout her body, making her want to immediately open my suitcases to check, to see if it was really as I said. Just as she was about to act, she was interrupted by an urgent phone call. It was from Jiang Wubai. After answering the phone, I don't know what was said on the other end. Yi Wanshuang was silent for a moment, and in the end, still went out first. Before leaving, she didn't forget to remind me one more time. Xing he. Don't stay out too long. Send me your return flight details then. I'll come pick you up. I didn't answer, because I knew I would not be coming back. This meeting is a final farewell. 5 hours before takeoff, I changed the password for the main door from my birthday to Jiang Wubai's birthday. Then I stuck a note on the door. After all, this will be Mr. Jiang's house from now on. It's better if the password is set to his birthday. 3 hours before takeoff, I found all the photos of me and Yu Wanshuang in the villa. I threw them into the fire basin, one by one. I held her and we kissed under the fireworks, repeatedly saying she was mine, confessing her love to me amidst the sunset and the Milky Way, vowing to love me for a lifetime. She once broke 3 ribs protecting me from a car. Her social media was all about me. We went through spring together, walked through summer, welcomed autumn, and sought through winter. Now, the memories are burning away bit by bit. We are also completely over. 2 hours before takeoff, my phone rang. I opened it to look. Jiang Wubai sent me a video. The video seemed to be of a family party. There were Yu Wanshuang's friends, Jiang Wubei's brothers, and the elders from both families. Many people surrounded Yu Wanshuang and Jiang Wubai, the 2 main characters of the event. The cheers and shouts were endless. Kiss! Kiss! I am telling you, Sister Wanshuang, you're getting married in a few days. What's there to be shy about kissing? Amidst a round of cheers, Jiang Wubai, with a blushing face, closed his eyes and moved closer to her. The crowd's shouts grew louder, shouting for Yi Wanshuang to kiss him. Yi Wanshuang stared at the person in front of her and finally closed her eyes. The video played on repeat. When it played for the 7th time, a message from Jiang Wubai arrived. Gu Xinghe. Did you see that? I am the son-in-law acknowledged by everyone in the Yi family. Your family is dirt poor. How could the Yi family possibly think highly of you? With your family background, you're barely good enough to marry a beggar. So what if Wanshuang loves you? I am breaking down her defenses bit by bit. First, she met the family with me. Then we lived together. And just now, she even kissed me. Tell me, how long do you think it'll be before we sleep together? I didn't reply to his message. I just silently took the provocative messages Head sent these past few days, one by one, and printed them all out. I arranged them into a stack and placed it in the empty living room. 1 hour before takeoff, I left my final words on that stack of printed paper. Yi Wanshuang, happy wedding. We're over. After that, I dragged my suitcase and left the villa complex. I hailed a taxi and sped towards the airport. Yi Wanshuang, from now on, I'm going back to being the rich young master of my Chaebol family. With you, I have nothing to do anymore. Hucheng Airport. As I dragged my suitcase out of the airport, a car that looked expensive at first glance, a Bugatti, was already waiting outside. As soon as he saw me, the man waiting outside the car immediately opened the door for me. Young master, please get in. The luggage was put in the car. As I got into the car, I casually chatted with the man sitting in the driver's seat. Uncle Lee, why are you the one picking me up? Where's the family driver? Uncle Lee chuckled. The small wrinkles at the corners of his eyes made him look even more kind. The car started, slowly merging into the flow of traffic. His voice followed. Young master, you haven't been back in years. When I heard you were coming back today, I volunteered for this task. It seems Uncle Lee missed me. I smiled, a hint of teasing in my eyes. Very quickly, the car stopped in front of the Gu family villa. I got out of the car and walked straight into the B villa. When I pushed the door open, a group of maids was already waiting by the door. Seeing me enter, their voices and actions were perfectly synchronized. Welcome home, young master. I put my hand to my forehead, feeling a bit helpless. Uncle Lai pushed the suitcase over, and a maid took it and carried it upstairs. Seeing my helpless expression, he chuckled and said, the master and madam take rituals very seriously. When they heard you were coming back, they stayed up all night training them for the welcome ceremony. They must be waiting for you in the living room now. I nodded. Although this welcome was a bit extravagant, I didn't say anything to spoil the mood. I just went straight to the living room. As expected, the living room was packed with people. My parents, as well as my uncle and aunt, were all here. I went forward and greeted each of them one by one. Then I sat down next to my parents. Seeing their concerned expressions, the composure I had maintained for so long suddenly shattered. An indescribable sense of grievance welled up inside me. Since I was a child, I was spoiled by all the elders as I grew up. never suffering any hardship, until I hid my identity and went to Haicheng for training, where I met Yuan Shuang. Dating her for 5 years, I gave her my whole sincere heart. At that time, I truly wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. I was also certain that, sooner or later, we would become each other's one and only. It's just a pity that, in the end, I almost unknowingly became the lover she kept on the side. A sincere heart was ultimately wasted. My mother noticed my heavy mood and patted my shoulder. Let bygones be bygones. The one thing we are not afraid of is making mistakes. At worst, we can just start over. Our family has no shortage of second chances. Hearing my mother's comforting words, my mood finally eased a little. Seeing this, the others quickly changed the subject. They hurriedly brought out the gifts they had prepared. Taking a look, I realized that what my mother told me on the phone a while ago was not an exaggeration at all. It was even a bit of an understatement. From property deeds to keys, on a thick stack was another long string of keys. The most striking thing was the diamond watch placed in the middle. Made of gold and diamonds, each diamond was incredibly large. Every part of this watch exuded extraordinariness and value, but they still seemed to feel it wasn't enough, trying to fill the table in front of me before they were satisfied. Just as I was about to helplessly say it wasn't necessary, my aunt suddenly slammed the table, her eyes lighting up. Didn't he, Singy? Just break up with someone? As it happens, a friend's daughter of mine recently returned to the country. My friend has been worried for a long time because she hasn't found a boyfriend. How about you two go on a blind date? Just think of it as making a friend. I was stunned and quickly waved my hands, saying I didn't need one. But my aunt wouldn't let me refuse. She directly took out her phone and sent me an account. I met that girl before she went abroad. She's very beautiful. Even if there's no romantic fate between you, it's still good to be friends. Since it was hard to refuse her kindness, I finally agreed to her suggestion. I just didn't expect that. When I opened the account she sent, I discovered that I had been friends with that person for a long time. I clicked to take a look. There was no nickname. The profile picture was a crescent moon in a pitch-black background. I was stunned, and thought hard for a long time, but still couldn't remember when I had added her as a friend. I didn't ask either. Pretending nothing was wrong, I turned off my phone screen. After all the answers would naturally be revealed when we meet. Just as I was preparing for a blind date with someone else, on the other side, Yuan Shuang had finally returned home. It was already dusk, and the lights in the villa were off. She didn't see the note on the door. She entered the password as usual. After entering it, as she was about to push the door open, she found that the door still wouldn't open. She looked up, a little confused, and only then did she see the note on the door. After all, this will be Mr. Jiang's house from now on. It's better if the password is set to his birthday. Mr. Jiang's house. Jiang Wubai. Her heart suddenly skipped a beat. Could it be that he already knew something? But he and Jiang Wubai had only met once, and no one else could have told him about this. Where could he have found out that she was going to marry Jiang Wubai? Yuan Shuang hesitantly entered Jiang Wubai's birth date. The villa's main door opened. She turned on the lights. The villa was empty. She unconsciously called out, Xinghe. Her voice echoed through the villa, but there was no reply for a long time. It was then that she suddenly remembered that I had gone to Hucheng 2 days ago. I rarely left her for so long. Most of the time, I was the one waiting at home for her to return. Or rather, since we started living together, except for this time, every time she came home before, I was always at home, waiting for her. Thinking of this, a trace of unease suddenly rose in Yuan Shuang's heart. She suddenly felt an emptiness in her heart. Could he have really done it? But on second thought, she dismissed the idea. How could that be? Gu Xinghe loves me so much. It's probably just because I've spent less time with him these past few days that he's overthinking things and accidentally guessed my relationship with Jiang Wubai. But he will definitely come back to me. When that time comes, I'll just have to coax him a little. Thinking this, she rubbed her forehead and walked towards the living room. It seems she'll have to call him later to ask when he's coming back and talk things through with him. But when she got to the living room, before she could even make the call, her eyes were drawn to a stack of paper placed on the living room table. Yuan Shuang didn't stop walking, but quickened her pace towards it. Very quickly, she sat down on the sofa and picked up the stack of papers. Not knowing what it was, there was a faint sense of anticipation in her heart. Something from Xinghe? Did he leave it for me to see? I told you so. He's just sulking. How could he really want to leave me? A faint smile curved her lips, but very quickly, as she saw the content on the paper, her smile froze. The top sheet of paper, apart from a line of handwriting, had nothing else on it. Yuan Shuang recognized it as my handwriting with a single glance. Flourishing on the page, if you didn't look closely at what was written, you would only find it beautiful. But it was this very handwriting, whose written words were like a sledgehammer, that struck her heart heavily. Yuan Shuang, happy wedding, were over. She seemed to hear her own ears ringing. Her mind went blank. She had to look it over carefully several times to finally confirm that she wasn't mistaken. He had indeed written happy wedding, were over. He doesn't want me anymore. He must be joking. How could he not want me? Her hand unconsciously flipped that page and tore it out, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it far away. Because of this action, The contents of the second page were revealed. It was a printout of a chat history screenshot, recorded from the day they became friends. I didn't save a contact name, so Yi Wanshuang could only see the person's profile picture and nickname. She found it very familiar, because she was also friends with that person. It was Jiang Wubai. The first message was from Jiang Wubai, sent half a month ago. She flipped through page after page, her heart sinking deeper and deeper into an abyss. I heard you're the gigolo that Wanshuang is keeping on the side. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jiang Wubai. I am her fiancé. I advise you to be smart and leave now. Otherwise, when Wanshuang and I get married, it will be very embarrassing for you to be kicked out of the villa. As long as I say the word, Wanshuang will still come to me. We are meeting the family tomorrow. Once we're actually married, what the hell are you? A gigolo who can't be seen in public? So what if she loves you? She kissed me just now. Tell me, how long do you think it'll be before we sleep together, in between? There were occasionally a few photos or a video clip. There were photos of them trying on wedding dresses, photos of them choosing a diamond ring together, and photos of them choosing a wedding venue together. As for that video, he had opened it, taken a screenshot, the most representative frame of the entire video, and also the frame Jiang Wubai wanted him to see the most. It was her and Jiang Wubai, in front of both sets of parents and a group of brothers, kissing passionately.